It's Mike with TechBB, and today we are going to talk about Dangerous Power's Fusion FX, okay? And the Fusion FX right now is selling for $499. Now this puts it right in the same price bracket, about $4 more than the Planet Eclipse E-Tech 3 LT. And I tell you what, I don't want to turn this review into a E-Tech 3 versus FX, but I tell you what, the Dangerous Power, the FX is definitely putting a lot of pressure on the E-Tech 3 LT. Now let's go ahead and take it out of the box. Now you'll see, great Dangerous Power packaging here. You've got the full color manual, you got some stickers, barrel sock, you got some O-rings here, nice little you got a nice full set of Allen keys. They're actually the ball-ended Allen keys, which are even nicer. So definitely top of the line packaging here. Now the FX comes with a 16-inch barrel, a little bit different from a 14-inch barrel, but it does come with a 16-inch barrel, and I believe the barrel bore is I think it's a 689 or a 690. The gun shoots good. You do get a little bit of vibration when you're shooting the gun because it is an air forward and a spring back. It's not a lot. It is a lot what you would find like shooting an Infinity Legend. There's not a lot of air forward spring back guns that are on the market right now. Basically Infinity Legend, I think the Dangerous Power is about the only two right now that are being sold. I use it out there on the field. Gun shot great. It only has one regulator. And this right here, this is not a low pressure regulator. This is just a volumizer here at the front. There is only one regulator on the gun. It does not have a low pressure regulator. It's just one regulator. Regulator works fine. There's no problems with it. But that may be one difference between this one and maybe even the E-Tech if you're looking and comparing the two, is that the FX only comes with one regulator. But let's go ahead and take it apart. A lot of questions are going to be answered once we take it apart, and then we'll go out and do an efficiency test on it and then come back for the conclusion. Okay, so let's take a look at the Dangerous Power FX a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and turn it on. As you can see, you do get an OLED board, and that is something to, something to consider heavily when you purchase this gun. A lot of people they love the OLED boards, and you get a very nice OLED board. Now, this LED board, which is made by Ape Technologies, a little bit on the complicated side. It does take a little bit of practice, and you do have to mess around with the modes quite a bit and learn the manual because this board does not program like any other board on the market. Definitely takes a lot of practice, a lot of messing around with it and stuff like that, because this board is absolutely loaded with features. It's got every mode you could ever imagine, even some cheater modes. It's just absolutely ridiculous the amount of modes and the customization that this board has. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart. Let's go ahead and remove the barrel first. Now the first place we're going to start taking it apart is we're going to take out the RAM. I'm going to show you how the RAM works. And basically it's an air forward and spring back. And you're going to see that contributes a lot to the gun's efficiency. The gun is actually very efficient out there on the field. And probably the main reason is because you get to save a little bit of air on not having to use air to stroke it back, push the bolt back. The spring does it for you. So it is going to be a little bit more efficient than most of the guns that are out there on the market. But that is the RAM right there. So, the bolt goes down into it like that. And when the air pushes it forward and the spring returns it, the spring goes right there. And that's about it. So very, very simple design, very easy to keep clean. And let's go ahead and wipe it down. And we're going to use a little bit of this Gorilla lube. I don't know, I've been liking this lube. Works really well. It's nice and sticky and it's clear and it doesn't smell funny. Not very picky when it comes to lube. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the RAM back in it. And let's go ahead and lube this up. And it does have bumpers on the front and the back to help reduce some of the knock and the kick. The gun's extremely light, so you do feel a little bit of kick when you shoot it, but it's not that bad. There we go. Go ahead and just clean the bottom part of this bolt off. Let's go ahead and install the bolt. There we go. Now let's go ahead and take apart the high pressure regulator. Okay, now inside the high pressure regulator, you've got actually two screws. You got a smaller screw down inside there, and that's actually how you adjust the velocity. And then you've got a wider screw out towards the bottom. That's actually what helps you take it apart. So what you do is you take the largest Allen key that you'll have in the Allen key set, and then I believe it's this one. Yep. And then you just basically twist them apart. There we go. And pull out the piston. This is 90% of the maintenance that you're going to do on the regulator. It's just going to be on the piston and the piston O-ring. You don't really have to get down into the adjustment screw or anything like that, or the reg seat. Most of the maintenance that you're going to do on the gun is just going to be on the piston itself. So let's go ahead and throw a little lube on here. Put a little lube on the inside. And some people are probably going to wonder what this little piece is here. That you see here. There's not really any user serviceable parts here, but let's go ahead and take it apart. Basically, this is just a spring seat. And you're going to see there's nothing here. So out it goes, okay. And you can see your reg seat down inside there. And you know, after about maybe 50, 60,000 shots, you may have to replace that. But when your gun starts acting funny, that's when you replace that. You usually don't have to replace it beforehand. But as you can see, there's not really anything too exciting about this piece, but I wanted to take it out just so you know what's inside your regulator. And we'll go ahead and tighten this back down, and let's go ahead and put this back on there. Put the two halves back together again. That's it. And you've just taken apart your high pressure regulator. Now let's go ahead and let's remove this little volumizer here so I can show you your poppet. Like I said, it's not a low pressure regulator. This is just a volumizer, and it holds the poppet in place. And you're going to get a little almost like a hollow coin that's going to come out of here. There it is. And there's your poppet. So you do want to make sure that you keep this little washer here on the end of your spring. It's going to help it stay nice and seated up against the volumizer here. And there's your poppet. So I don't recommend you put any sort of lube on here or anything like that. You want to keep that as dry as possible. Any sort of lube here around this is just going to cause it to leak. So don't put any lube on here at all. You just want to keep that as dry as possible. And so that's your poppet. Let's go ahead and stick it back down into the gun. And let's put the little spring back here, that little hollow washer down there on the back. Let's go ahead and screw this back together again. And let's tighten it back up. And then what we'll do, once we get all this back together again, there we go. Put the macro line back in. There we go. And then now what we'll do is let's go ahead and take it out there on the field and do a efficiency test on it, and then we'll come back with a conclusion. Hey, what's up guys, it's Mike, and I'm here with Josh, and we are going to be doing an efficiency test on the Dangerous Power FX. So let me go ahead and pull the camera off the tripod here. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is the tank gauge, which on this one we're sitting right at about 4,200 PSI. Yeah, about 42, almost 4,300 PSI. Let's go ahead and take a tank temperature reading. Now a lot of people ask us, why do we take a tank temperature reading? It's mostly just to help a little bit with the conspiracy theorists that are on the internet, that, you know, oh, well, maybe that tank was hot, or maybe that tank was cold, or something like that. So let me go ahead, we're going to put in our first pod. Okay, and then we're going to turn on the gun. I think it's the red button there. Oh, it's already on. Okay, let me turn on the chronograph. Let's go ahead and shoot a couple over the chronograph. 299, 295. That looks good to me. Let me go ahead and get my mask on. Safety first. And now we're going to go ahead and set this back up on the tripod. And we're going to shoot till we run out of air. Go ahead. Is that on some? Should be on. That'll be a little easier. Try it now. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, so out of Dangerous Power FX, we shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9.5 pods. Thank you. Okay, so as you saw, that's a pretty efficient gun. Let's go ahead and weigh it really quick. Always important to weigh the gun. Okay, you can see it turns right on here. And let's go ahead and put it on the scale. Okay, Dangerous Power FX weighs in at 1 pound, 15.6 ounces. 1 pound, 15.6 ounces for the Dangerous Power FX. And like I said, I mean, I really wanted to focus on the FX, but with the you know, the Eclipse 3 being its main competition, this gun gives you a lot of options to consider. The fact that it's got an OLED board, 16-inch barrel, good efficiency. You know, it's got the switchback trigger where you can either get a flat bladed trigger or a Sith style trigger. Trigger's really nice on it. It uses a micro switch, which is really nice. I mean, there's not a lot to say about the effects of it. It's a good shooter for 500 bucks. I know for a lot of people are going to be turned off by the air forward spring back. Honestly, I've shot miniguns that have this design and I've never had any problem with it. I personally have not seen any sort of advantage or disadvantage over a air forward, air back versus an air forward or spring back. You do get a little bit of vibration through the gun when the ram comes backward. You will feel a little bit of a ting through the gun. But other than that, man, it's a good shooting gun. I mean, it shoots ropes. when it's out there on the field. Doesn't break paint, very easy to work on, very simple to take apart. Probably the biggest, not only is its biggest advantage, but also its biggest learning curve is going to be this, you know, the Ape OLED board. You know, it's the same board that you see that's in the Revy, and it is a complicated board. It is not a Virtue, you know, green, you know, red and yellow colors. I mean, you really need to take a lot of time with the manual to understand this board. You need to do a lot of playing around with it at your house, practicing with it and stuff like that, so you can get the full, you know, the full functionality of it. But I mean, that's about a $150 board, and it already comes in this gun free of charge. But other than that, I mean, I would definitely, if you're at a $500 price range, I would give this gun a good hard look, you know, when you're looking to make a purchase, because I mean, it's sleek, it looks good, it shoots great out there on the field. I mean, I really don't have too many bad things to say about the Dangerous Power FX. So hopefully this helps you guys make a decision on it. Thanks for tuning in.